Hey guys, how you doing? In for another episode of OPSLED with Bruce. Yep, Pat, Precourt, Justin Spooky, myself, obviously Matt Briers. So today our topic is power of the white belt, power of learning. Old Bruce Lee quote, emptying your cup. And what we're doing now with OPSLED is we're trying to actually get into, start off with something we suck at. And I'm talking about martial arts, and that's what I love to do, is going into the first thing that I've been realizing as I've progressed through the years, that I noticed my mobility and the flexibility and being more agile, both I say in mind and body. A lot right now body, but I'm also realizing that things will help open the mind too. So that's something that I've been now, being a white belt again, putting myself back in the beginning, learning a new skill set, learning to be flexible, learning to be mobile, learning to breathe and stretch and relax, and how I'm noticing that not only is it affecting my performance on the mat, but kind of how it permeates into other aspects of my life. But curiosity, anything that
and I'll share it in a moment. But let's give a little deeper explanation of what it is. If I say, what does it mean to always be a white belt at something in your lives? Like, what does that mean?
That you're always trying to learn something new in some aspect. You're always, trying to get better at something.
Okay. Agreed. And for me, similar, but it's also, it's almost getting, because the white belt, when you think about a white belt, a lot of people like, it's not a negative, but they're like, oh man, I'm a beginner, I don't know anything. And there's some ego in that you're not a beginner, or that you don't want to be the beginner. I want to put the blue belt on, I want to put the next level belt on. So for me, it's like, well, removing the ego of trying to be the best at everything, like Justin says he is, and removing that ego and being like emptying the cup and being welcoming to any challenge, any information, anything that someone has to say that I don't know, and just being very receptive to learning.
So would you say being a white belt, whether you're starting or progressing, means that you're effectively doing something you've never done before, starting something new?
Yes, or maybe you did something before, and like, I don't need to know more about that. I'm good enough already at that. But maybe you're not, and learning to recognize maybe some of your failures at that, or not failures, your shortcomings at that, and learning to say, okay, I need to learn more about that.
Okay, so let's continue down the line of belt colors, right? And white being beginner and black being expert. Let me ask you a question. I'd be curious what you guys say about this. Who learns the more, or who learns more over any given period of time? Say a 6 or 12 month period. A new white belt who just started today and is in his first 12 months, or a black belt who's in their 9th or 10th year, but the same 12-month period of time. Whose learning curve is steeper, and who gets more out of it?
The white belt, without a doubt. I mean, the learning curve of the white belt, you can see it happen every day. It's like, boom, they shoot up very, very quickly in that 6 month time, compared to now being a black belt myself. And it's like my learning is very incremental, very small. It's just changing, modifying very small things, or applying different techniques but it's not like the white belt where it's like, wow, it's just open to you and crazy and awesome.
So what you're suggesting, just don't put words in your mouth, is that the fastest way to learn and grow is to be white belt?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
What are the challenges? Why wouldn't we all want to start something new every day? Like, where's the problem?
It's scary.
Boom.
Stepping out and doing something that you never did before.
Afraid of what?
Failure?
What people think, failure, you're not going to be good at it. Everyone wants to start off, like he says, start off being the best. Nobody starts anything being the best at it. They always start at the bottom.
I have a great story that I can't help interject here.
Go ahead.
How about you interject now?
I'm going to do it. So we had these, years ago, we had these two kids who walked in here and wanted to learn jiu-jitsu and striking and MMA and all that stuff. And when I was talking, kind of giving the intro spiel, they're like, is it, we just watched the movie, It's Never Back Down. Is it like that? Like, how quickly am I going to get good? And it's like, I'm like, it kind of baffled me that they were thinking that they were going to get good in a week. I'm like, years, like, oh. And they both took one class, and that was it. They were just like, it was like they you could tell in their eyes it was not what they expected. It was tougher than they expected, and they weren't ready to face that challenge.
Sure. So let's talk about that. The challenge, and like Justin, who just left,
to get Bruce.
Yeah, to get Bruce. just mentioned that the challenge is fear of failure, right? What's the problem with failure?
Well, I don't see. I don't know. The problem with failure, I mean, is I don't know. I don't see a problem with failure because failure to me is opportunity. Is a chance for me to get better. So I don't see a problem with it. But is that answer? I don't know if that's answer.
Well, would you agree or disagree? Welcome back, Justin. Would you agree or disagree that when you do something new, whatever it may be, whether you fail or succeed, you grow?
Without a doubt.
Okay. So would you also then agree that there might be a broken paradigm around failure, meaning that we think in our society, particularly as we grow up through grade school and we get we get F's on a test and big F's circled and all that crap, right? That the paradigm of failure might be improper, right? That maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe not only is it possibly a good thing, maybe it's a required part of the process in order to grow. If the outcome, say in JITS, is to reach the level of a black belt, are there ruthless failures along that journey to get here?
I would say so.
You had to fail every single day. I would sort of say for lifting too.
Yeah,
like you're like, if you go right off the bat deadlifting 800 pounds, you're like, well,
It's gonna be
I guess I've won at lifting, But you need to fail and go through the struggles of being buried under a squat or not getting that up in order to achieve that and see what you have to do to work.
The failure kind of tells you that you're on the path of learning.
Yeah.
Because you can't learn without failing first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Someone once said that you really have no idea how far you can go until you test going too far, right? And in a heavy squat or a deadlift, right? That'd be where you don't get up. The thing goes down.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
In our world of martial arts, in jiu-jitsu, it's getting submitted, it's getting caught, it's tapping out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You tried something that's just beyond where you're at right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now it gives us that next layer to push into.
Yeah.
Because in getting caught or not getting a squat, there's a learning curve, isn't there?
It's almost the point too. Is like as you progress more, you almost should be looking to identify those failures. Like
That's what I'm trying to get at here.
When I'm on the mat and I know, like, say I'm working a new series, a new concept, or my guard just keeps getting passed, and they're blowing by me. Like, well, to me, it's almost like that's a good thing because now it's exposing a weakness of an opportunity for me to work on something to now make my failure a strength.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe something you didn't realize that was an
Right.
issue until.
And effectively what you're saying is you'll learn a lot more from those who pass your guard as you go back and analyze and try different things to avoid it than you will from nobody passing your guard and you're not changing anything.
Right.
You're just status quo, right? But you don't know necessarily
Or if you
what's working or not working.
or you refuse to do the thing, like maybe subconsciously or consciously, you refuse to do the thing that you know you will probably fail at. If I know that I'm going to get my guard passed, that my guard sucks or whatever, broad statements here. My guard sucks, so when we roll, we start on our knees. I'm not going to go to my guard at all. I'm just going to make sure that other guy pulls guard force. I'm going to force him to his back so I never have to play guard. That way my guard will never get passed.
Sure. So let's go back to what you said. Fear, right? That's one reason why people don't try new things. We're analogating it to martial arts and strength training, right? Mm-hmm. And we're focusing on the actual fear of the failure. Let's talk about another big piece because there's two other big fears that come in always. One is fear of the unknown, and one is fear of judgment. And I want to talk about the judgment one because these are the people around us.
Yeah.
These sometimes are our friends, our family, right? And there's a fear that if we don't succeed, others around us are going to judge us for that. So let's talk about that. How do you address it and how do you overcome it?
Wow, that's a challenge because I think we all deal with it in different ways and different levels. Myself, I've always tended to been a independent person / thinker that you don't like me, I really don't give a fuck, So it's like if I fail, it's almost more very personal, and so it's not like I don't really care what Justin thinks per se, and maybe that's a years of being that I'm conditioned to that, so I don't care. But I definitely seen others that they have a hard time with that. They're worrying about, they're afraid to take that step out because they're ridicule from their perceived ridicule from their family, their friends, or whatever that hinders them to actually trying something. But I don't know. You anything?
I actually have kind of an issue with that sometimes, especially like doing this
Online
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Communicating through the
That somebody's out there
Internet,
laughing
yeah,
their ass
it's-
off.
yeah,
at
They're
it
right now.
now.
Stop laughing on us.
Look at that guy's fucking haircut. What a loser!
Yeah.
Oh, stupid shit
Well,
like that.
I definitely see that.
It's just a matter of just keep doing it. Like the things that the other people's opinions, they're not going to change what you're doing. You just have to keep going through and keep going forward and keep doing everything. I did a vlog for a while. I did like 100 episodes. The first one was fucking terrible. The 100th one was okay. Just the repetitiveness of doing the thing that you don't want to do over and over again.
Now you put yourself out there all the time. You were just at an event. You're emceeing. You travel all the time, talking to different people, helping different people. So was there a point where you were fearful or had what went through your mind?
Yeah, let me share a thought with you. On hindsight, it was yes, I was concerned that everybody was judging me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's judging me, and you know what? That turned out to be a very egotistical, self-centered opinion. Because the truth is, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And the only ones that say anything are such small human beings to begin with that all they're trying to do is build up their own space. Has nothing to do with me. So at the end of the day, 99% of people don't care. They're into their own crap. They're not worried about my stuff, win or lose. And the ones that do speak up are the smallest people anyways. That old saying, lions don't swat at mosquitoes, right? You just apply that and it all goes away. Now it doesn't matter. You just get focused and do what you do, right? When we worry about what other people may or may not think of us, right? It interferes with our creative process. It gets in the way of us just being authentic and genuine to who we're supposed to be. And then it's at that point, that we come across somebody we're not meant to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's the part I remind myself of. Instead of trying to cater to who I think you think I think you think I should be, just work that out, okay?
What do you think I should be?
Yeah.
That was right.
I said, no. I'm just going to be who I am, right? And let it flow from there. And I'll attract the ones who love it, and I'll drive off those who don't, and that's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? Who wants someone in their space, in their tribe, who doesn't like them? No.
Oh yeah.
Right. So that shouldn't be the outcome. So that's how I deal with that and address that.
So how do you? What do you? Kind of two different topics. Now, how do you? Well, I guess it's the same kind of thing. Is how do you give someone the called the power of being a white belt and the power of not giving a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
That I don't care what. All right, I'm a brown belt, black belt, whatever on the mat, right? How do I not give a fuck if that blue belt tapped me or the purple belt tapped me because I was trying something new, and that maybe he's gonna go, oh man, I fucking tapped Matt today.
Mm-hmm.
How do you give that person the power of not giving a shit? Like, I'm just gonna worry about me.
That's a good question. Yeah, and there's a time and a place to be selfish, and this is it here. In order for us to grow, we have to keep pushing our limits. We've got to try things we haven't done to get results that we've never gotten, right? And in order to do that, we may have to, whether it's against a blue belt or any other belt, have to do something because we're testing it, right? It's not in competition.
Right.
This is where we're testing it and perfecting it and breaking it and refixing it, right? And we have to care less about what they may or may not think or what those watching may or may not think and be super selfish. But I'm committed to growing, to getting better, irregardless of what small people around me may or may not think, and just get uber focused and make it all about you in this moment. There's a time and a place to be selfish, and this is it.
So now that makes sense to me as doing martial arts and to certain business obviously too, and strength training, it carries over very well. And I know you've done a lot of martial arts and rugby and jiu-jitsu and MMA as well. But curiosity, how did you? Because you started off more on the business side or the real estate side. Am I saying that correctly? How did you then deal with it on that? How did you apply that kind of thought process to your business and your personal growth?
How did I overcome?
So let's put that. Let me rephrase the question. So when in jiu-jitsu we have the mats and the strength room to test ourselves, to train, to make our mistakes and go for our failures and etc. In business you get the same thing, but do you feel like there's a testing ground in business or going through your beginning of, let's say, starting a new career or starting a business or whatever it is, whatever you want to empty your cup and be white belt at, how do you test and develop that without let's say destroying yourself. Like, okay, I've got $100,000. I'm gonna open a brand new business selling widgets, and fuck, I'm gonna put, there goes all my, I'm gonna put everything out there the way I think, and I make so many mistakes, I just blow through everything, and now I've got nothing, and I've failed royally, and I can't recover from that. So how does someone who's, let's say, new to anything they want to do, find a way to be on the mat per se, or be in the strength room to train?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I'll just keep this as simple as possible, right? Number one is to always remind yourself that our time here is short. It really is, and every day, like if we all go, like everybody take a deep breath, go, and let it out. And now appreciate that you just took your next breath towards your last. Let that sink in for a second, right? Our time here is short, and it does not stop ticking. And at the end of the day, we'll always regret much more the things that we chose not to do over the things that we did. As a matter of fact, there'll be no regrets over what we did. It'll always be about the stuff that we didn't do, that we could have done, that we should have done.
You hear a lot of people say on their deathbed, all the
exactly.
stuff they didn't do.
Yeah.
It's not all the things they accomplished. It's like, well, I should have done this. I should have spent more time with family. I should have gone on, enjoyed life, or whatever it is. That
Should have went for it.
Yeah.
Should have went for it.
Pete, come here. Jump in the camera really quick. So,
Pete, sit in Bruce's seat.
Yeah. So,
Hey, guys.
I hate putting you on the spot here. You were in this kind of spot of
Absolutely.
death. Let's say that Pete had a major heart attack on the mat and almost died. Can I ask a very personal question?
3 years ago.
You were in the hospital. You're going through or experiencing a major heart attack right now.
Yep.
What was going through your mind as in in that moment?
Well, the first thing is denial that it's happening, even though it's happening. Just kind of weird, but it's true. But one thing I remember specifically is when I went to urgent care, Rafael Formiga Barbosa was with me, soul fighter, black belt, 4th degree black belt, I believe, world champion. And when they had me in the, I guess what do you call it, gurney, a bed, whatever, they're carrying me to the ambulance, I was upset, and I was like basically crying. I said to him, I'm so sorry, Formiga, I'm sorry. And he said, what are you sorry for? And I said, I'm sorry I didn't do all the things that I always wanted to do. I'm sorry I didn't compete more. I'm sorry I didn't do the, World's Masters. I'm sorry I didn't do all this stuff, because at that point I realized that I might have a half hour to live. Like that was it. Like the clock was ticking, and it was a race of time to get to the hospital. And so what you guys said is 100% correct. It's a funny thing because we're talking words and we intellectualize things, and words are words. Words are just something that makes you think of something else, but it's really the feeling that's inside you that triggers everything. And I could tell you about the experience, but unless you go through it yourself or something like that, it's life altering. And since that happened to me, I never forget that life is finite. That I might have 1 year to live, 6 months to live. I might have 30 years to live. I have no idea. I have no clue. But because I know it's finite, it erased the concept of fear for me of doing and trying things. Because what do you have to lose? I mean, your greatest gift you have right now is your life, is your future. Your future is your potential. No one can dictate to you or tell you what tomorrow is going to be for you. It's you who does that. And when you have a situation where you almost die, you really learn to appreciate life. And that's when you actually learn to live. It's the end of survival and the beginning of living.
What's cool about you too is like once you got back from that, let's call it experience.
Yeah.
You've been on a freaking tear. You haven't stopped living and challenging yourself and emptying your cup and putting on a proverbial white belt again, even though you're a purple belt. But you talk about how every time I see you, you're always trying to talk about how you're improving and working on this, and whether it be your camera work, whether it be on the mat, which I really. You and I are great friends, so we've talked at length about this. Oh, I love you. But I see that how that one experience has profoundly changed your life to the point where you're like almost a teenager, just hungry and like I want everything.
Well, the funny thing is, when you're a young person, you're very idealistic, or typically you are. I can't say that as a general statement, but you're idealistic. You're in love with life. You have great hopes, great expectations. But as you get older, life kind of gets in the way. And you know, if you get married, you have kids, and you have a job, you have mortgage responsibilities. So you lose track of who you are as that young person. But what you are as that young person is someone whose heart is open, pretty much. Your soul is open to the wonders of the world. And it took a heart attack and almost losing my life to become that young person again. And it wasn't an intellectual process where I said, hey, I'm going to do this. It was the spirit, the soul, leading the mind. Now, everyone thinks, to quote this guy Joseph Campbell, who's a great mythological teacher and educator, that the mind's in charge. The mind is just an organ in your body. Yeah, it controls a lot of things, but you know, sometimes it's your soul that's leading the way. Mm-hmm. And you know, I didn't really grasp that until I had the gift of a heart attack. So
as action steps, everybody go get a heart attack.
Oh, I wouldn't recommend that. But make sure you survive, because it's a 50-50 shot of living and dying with a heart attack.
Fair enough. And, you know, the truth is, there's some people right now watching this that are in such a shitty spot. If they could get what you have, they would take the 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
Beauty is they don't have to. They don't have to take that risk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's just kind of put some bookends on this, wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Just a couple thoughts, right? You asked me a question, what moves me forward each day,
Mm-hmm.
right? Very simple. I have a commitment to myself and my family not to be in the same place today as I was yesterday, and tomorrow to be further along than I was today, right?
That's opposite.
Always
Suck less every day.
Yeah, suck less every
Check the
day.
cameras real quick.
And you can create a measurable process for that. Like if you were to, I call this an integrity wheel, right? But if you were to draw a circle and put slices of pie on this thing and have 6 or 8 or 10 categories of your life, right? From your personal life to your health, your physical health, your mental, emotional health, your relationships, your bank account, your professional life, all the things that you think that shape you. And you rate them, honestly, as a 1 to 10 as to how full that bucket is. A 10 being, you can't fill this thing anymore, it's absolutely overflowing already. And a 1 being that I'm empty, right? And maybe once a quarter, you readdress this with the intent of getting these things up in that, you know, in that 8 or better spot, right? It's very difficult to have overflowing buckets in all areas of life all the time, because that would be this panacea of perfection which can't be achieved, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a way to actually chart your progress and be honest, be legitimate about what's going on. And the single easiest way to keep these going is, 1, be aware where they are now, and then make a conscious effort each day to address something in these different buckets of your life. Maybe next OPSLED we can actually put an integrity wheel up. Take this a little deeper.
I was very curious. I've heard you reference that before.
Yep.
And I'd like to see that, drawn out, whiteboarded out or something like that, because I think that'd be a really interesting topic. I know for me, and I'm sure for anybody listening, because that gives, it always goes to almost an action plan a little bit. Now you're starting to look to get here's my buckets of life, and what needs to be fixed and drawn. Where am I white belt at? And I was kind of, I'll ask one question. Let's say it's, so we'll use jiu-jitsu again. So say one of your buckets is like physical and it's jiu-jitsu, okay? And okay, so you're at I'm not gonna say what rank I think I am at, but let's say you're at a certain level. Like, well, do you ever reevaluate, or is there interstages? Okay, are you saying stage 1 and stage 2, stage 3, or are you saying that that is you only can reach so far? How do you almost kind of check yourself? You know?
Let me ask you this, okay? Say you're going into a big game, the team you're going to play against. Forget, it doesn't matter the sport. No, I give you. There's 2 teams, and you get to choose who you're going to play against. They're both 7-7. The first team won their first 7 games and lost their last 7. They're 7-7. The second team lost their first 7, but won their last 7. Who would you rather compete against?
The first one.
Right. Mm-hmm. So equal record, and you got to be careful how you measure things. They're effectively equal, but the direction they're going is completely different. And I'm more concerned about which direction I'm going than my actual score.
Got it, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And
So
I would say if we're going to measure, let's measure the direction we're going, versus where we're at, which is it's much more relative to direction, where we're going to, not where we've been, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so definitely next OPSLED we will put. I think that's a great one. Integrity wheel, as you called it.
Cool.
I think it'd be great. Other action items. I would say for action items for yourself. So guys, what we're doing now, but maybe by the time you watch it'll be up. It'll be OPSLED.com. We're posting all our videos and all that stuff. We really want to get is engagement for you guys. So we want to start putting this as a way for you to get some valuable out of this instead of just hearing the 3-4 awesome people talk about shit. Putting a couple of things, either putting down what you feel that you're sucking at today that you want to improve at, and also going into the topic that we talk about, so power of a white belt. Think about whether you put it online for us to look at, or you think about it internally yourself. It's like, where can you be a white belt in? Where can you empty your cup and take that take that realization for yourself that you need work in this area, and then putting actual items to actually doing that, and not having the fear of failure, that realizing failure is actually a benefit toward yourself. Please share your feedback on that and how you're doing with that, and things that you could be better at, because that will definitely help yourself as well as help us keep doing these awesome things.
Absolutely. I'd love to see some shares, just build a little momentum behind it.
Yeah.
We love our vision for this is really getting a huge community of OPSLEDers, where everybody is out, and getting other people involved in this as well, because there's a lot of power in this, and we're just starting out. So any suggestions help, and is great. So
awesome.
cool. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
See you.